Hello, hi everyone. Thank you very much for joining me this time. Okay, for our topic in project management subject communication management. Okay. So in practice, communication as a soft skill is often taken for granted by most people who specialize in it. In other words, all of us we talk, we write, we wave our arm around, and therefore we communicate both efficiently and effectively. Okay, simplistic, yes. Simplistic, yes. Totally plausible, perhaps not. We consider for one moment how you are communicating right at this moment as you read, and how are you dressed, how you sit, lying down or walking back and forth. Are you highlighting about something that can show that we are always communicating by using verbal, vocal, or visual cues, full of both intent from the sender and outcome for the receiver. Okay. So you can see from here. Yeah. So with anywhere from maybe 75% or maybe up to 90% of the project manager's time spent communicating in any one or more of the uh, four given communication modes like writing, reading, talking, and listening. So it is little wonder that communication is the organizing force of any organization in setting the scene for both productive work and relationship alike. So despite this glowing endorsement, poor communication continues to frustrated and undermine the workplace in its different, okay, as a problem, issue, and misunderstanding. So everyone communicate every day and every minutes. So some do it publicly, and some maybe do it explicitly. Other more privately and implicitly. Okay, so some achieve it with aggression, others through passive means. For some, it is a verbal through the use of the word, speech, and perhaps presentation. Others rely on written report and the like. While still others choose non-verbal mean to communicate. So even silence is a powerful non-verbal means of communicating. So we do that, plan our your projects communication by do the extensive glossary of term, protocol for creating, securing, distributing, and storing the information. Okay. Stakeholders involved in receiving the information. And then method used to keep stakeholder informed and up to date. Any communication constraint governed by a legislation, regulation or organizational policies. Escalation step to deal with issue. A team member authorized to release information and nomination of specific document requirement. So a proper communication plan can be developed, outline exactly how the project communication will be planned, structured, monitored, and controlled. So what can you expect to find in one work through by the following this idea, the extensive glossary of the protocol of creating, securing, distributing, and storing information. So a plan is in place, just in case that we have a plan in place. No doubt all communication will now function perfectly. So back to reality, by now you should be getting a feeling that communication can be difficult between two or more people. In fact, the more people involved, the more difficult communication can become. So any number of factors can contribute to this: individual perspective, language, and vocabulary, status. That means seniority always has the best memory of what was said, and then self-image, message complexity, cultural factor, along personal personal perception and prejudice. Recall from uh, earlier chapter that we can define a project communication management as a process required to ensure timely and appropriate planning, collection, creation, distribution, storage, retrieval, management, control, monitor, and ultimate disposition of the project information. Yeah. So the intent behind this revision is that relevant, timely, and accurate information is appropriately get generate and confirmed upon receipt, and most importantly is fully understood. Okay, so that's what the purpose of communication in a project. So so we can see from here, this is according to Cole. Cole 2010 advocate a clever continuum of the four Fs, four Fs in analyzing and thinking information. Okay, through along with some valuable tip for separating the four. The first one is a fact. Fact. So indisputable and objective truth accepted by everyone. Okay, present only factual information that can be independently verified. That the first one we must make sure in order for us to analyze and thinking the information. The first one is in facts, and then the second one you can see from there is a fantasy. Fantasy. Okay, someone's opinion or interpretation. That means someone opinion or interpretations. Acknowledge that it is only an opinion and that is being stated. And then folklore. Folklore, or can see as rumors, gossip, hearsay. Don't get caught. Don't get caught up or feed the rumor mill. Some people will make up what they don't know. Okay, and then feelings. Okay, that means intuition, ego, or emotion. Allow time to feel, to feeling to be expressed without judgment. Okay. So clearly there will be opportunities to seek further information, be that clarification or justification through any formal or informal channel, including scheduled meeting, a written report, discussion, forum, journal and article, presentation, voicemail, and so on. So more specifically in project management environment, poor communication will often be a very real barrier, preventing stakeholder from identifying, clarifying, and resolving issue throughout the life cycle. Throughout the life cycle. So whichever project life cycle you endorse, B is by four-stage model of any other one. The opportunities, challenge, and more certainly the pressure present at each stage should dictate the communication strategy or tool used. So the need to communicate is obvious, as is the notion that communication work best when you work at communication. And you can see from here tab from this, okay, figure, the profiling, the meeting, okay. So don't get a wrong impression. Meetings are an excellent communication tool if planned. If planned. Okay. So some people have suggested that manager and often their subordinate can spend upward to maybe 85% of their time in meeting. So in this figure, we discuss about the meeting, project meeting. This figure probably, okay, sound alarming to those who have never stopped to consider this valuable statistic. If true, this appropriate amount of time can be spent having this meeting within closed door, along the corridor, in the car park, or on site. Okay. So the obvious question to ask are how much of this time is spent wisely, efficiently, and effectively when we do a meeting, and how many of the meeting result is actionable outcome, and then what percentage of the meeting include the stakeholder who can actually make the required decision, and how much construction constructive information is presented at the meeting, how that participative the meeting, and that is do they allow for differing opinions, proposal and responsibility, how many meetings that are poorly managed, how many meetings that are held merely to ratify that what has already been decided by others. So don't get the wrong impression. Meeting are an excellent communication tool if we have a very good plan, so execute and manage well. However, our focus will be on the other type of meeting where the planning, execution, including the management and follow-up process, fall far short of the preferred level. And why should this type of meeting be targeted? Because meeting can take a lot of time out of a day. Okay, so they can involve numerous they can involve numerous stakeholders, each with personal time agenda, and they often achieve very little. So as we can reflect from this figure 9.2. Yeah. So hopefully the name of this meeting paints a clear picture of what the meeting is about. So it's can be held at any time after the project team has been assembled. So be that during the initiative or initiation phase, in the planning stage, or just prior to the execution phase. That the choice is yours when you're going to set up a meeting. Its intention is to formally introduce everyone to the project, to each other, and to the key stakeholders. So where you hold the meeting will determine will be the determines what is actually covered. Although the following example would apply in any details, like you can see detailing project objective, expectation, deliverables, outcomes, and benefits. So meeting and then meeting the client or representative, reviewing all the scope inclusion and exclusion, okay, clarifying the roles and responsibilities of executive, project, operational, technical team, and or other support team, explaining the project management methodology or framework to be followed, okay, walking through the project management and any subsidiary plan, discussing different view between the stakeholders and or team members, explaining the indicative budget and preferred time frame, right? And this is the meeting that formally brings the project to a close. Project can close at any time, complete or not. Final meeting ensure that all aspects of the project are formally closed or prior to the team being disbanded. Okay, that's some of the few point of important point that we can do in kick-out meeting. Okay, and that's a project performance report. So another vital communication tool to project stakeholder is the favored, although often uh, maybe project report and commonly mistaken called the progress report or status report. So this document carries with considerable responsibility in conveying the true nature of the project's performance, whatever that performance might be. Okay, so we have to consider these following scenarios. That's we have to. There's a project management reports. It's a tool that we can communicate to convey accurate, complete, and timely information to the different stakeholders. Use that to evaluate the following, maybe the milestone. Okay, the milestone if the project is behind any area. So this document, this is the document that will enlist a stakeholder assistant to bring it back on schedule. Okay, milestone, standard dollar expenses, 50-50 rule, level of effort, equivalent unit number of compliance, inspection, testing, and reporting, remaining duration of the project, number of deliverable completed and or handed over. So all of this can be achieved through the project management report information. So if the project is progressing to plan, so this document that will reinforce the progress. So if the project is encountering a number of contractor performance management concern, okay, so this is the document that will communicate the redress. And if the project is ahead of schedule, and this is the document that will ensure that completion will not be jeopardized. And then if the project is generating a raft or issues and conflict, so this is document actually can help us in what's the will communicate that require escalation. So if the project is experiencing increasing in the risk impacting the project, so this is document that will communicate those impact just in case that project quality is not being delivered as required, that this document will be identify the area that we need to improve. So the requirement to write a report can often leads either to an impressive work or fiction. I mean, it at worst, okay, or a concise and harness summary of the project or progression. So that status and likely conclusion at best. So while the latter is our target in this section, the reality is that report often fall considerably short of our stakeholders' true requirement. Okay. So that means from that project management performance report, you can provide anything so that we need to monitor of that project, reflect the true fact, enable a problem solving, facilitate decision making, track all the scope changes and revision, whether that needs any changes or we need to do something on it. Okay, and then confirms that the project is on track in all respect. Okay. Okay, from project report about project progress report. Okay, and from the progress report you can see project task and milestone commencement, project task and milestone progression. So the two slides Gantt chart is very useful in this progress report, and the project task and milestone completion, budget and cash flow consumed by the progress. So we use that as our communication tools, this progress report, to make sure that our project managements, okay, going right in on the track. Okay. Okay, and status report of this. So all the guideline that can be equally defended and defamed with relative ease. Perhaps the key point to take from this is that each measure some things different, yet all are good. Again, it's come back to what the stakeholder determine achievement to be, and what can actually be measured. Remember, if it cannot be measured in the first place, it cannot be reported, let alone corrected, reinforced, or improved. So should the one project report try to cover the objective, cover all the objective cited, and then common sense would dictate that there can be no perfect template for a project management report. For that matter, any project documents, okay, each project follows in different paths, or has a different expectation and constraints, different performance measurements, and different stakeholders. Realistically, though, these three reports are all contained with the one performance report, things of the progress, status, completion report, more as useful heading. The three report that's discussed. We can see from here the progress report, uh, status report, and forecast completion report. Okay, it's not perfect. but we can use this as our tool to communicate between team member and stakeholders. Okay. Okay, status report. The focus of the status report will be on the current position, the project whole in relation to its overall plan. That is the project running, the schedule on the budget, and as specified. And is it fully resourced where the project tasks and milestone are in relation to the status date. So where the budget and cash flow expenditure are as at the status date, and what the specification conformant as at the status date. So what the resource loading and assignment are at the status date. Okay. Same goes to forecast completion report. Is finally the third type of report cited here in the forecast completion report. As this can be defined. That's a word forecast as a that means okay, estimation of something in future, a prediction. So taking this as a literal meaning as before, the forecast completion report will focus on one thing, the completion of the projects to plan. Remember, the clue lies in the report name forecast completion. Forecast completion. So in this report, there is there is no request for historical information, nor is there a request for information on where the project is right now. So what the stakeholders want to know in this report is your ability to bring the project is on schedule, on budget, and all, and as specified, and what your strategies are for doing this. Okay. So because of that, the forecast completion report should include the following information: forecast completion date, then time or revision, pending and foreseeable risk, approval outstanding and or required impacting completion, forecast completion budget and or budget projected cost overrun, anticipated scope revision. Okay. Any issues requiring resolution or escalation, and then forecast completion specification. There was a hospital once that suddenly lost a couple of floors as the specification as revised in line with time delay and cost overrun as the project drew to a close. And then forecast resource requirement in line with the above point. Okay. So remember that not everyone needs the same information at the same time, nor in the same format. So what might be generically convenient for the project organization might not be convenient for every stakeholder. Okay. So ensure that information provide any strategic and operational direction, motivation for everyone, and degrees of control, and the fuel for current decision making. Okay. So communication control is not an isolated activity. It is fully integrated across the project life cycle, and across all other project process. Okay. So the collective wisdom from a professional library that has in excess of 500 project management texts and research articles present a wide range of measurement, reporting, and control process designed to put stakeholder back into the correct driving position when measuring and controlling changes to scope in general and project achievement in particular. So realistically, all project information and communication will need to be monitored. So acted on and released to stakeholders throughout the project. So this could take the format of any of these following document, like say issue register, lesson learn log, performance report, earn value report, correspondence register, milestone report. Stakeholder feedback, risk registers, variation registers, presentation, project plan, meeting minutes, yeah, update schedule, revise budget, change requests. Okay. So regardless of which one you use, hopefully most of them at some stage attention will remain in the following point. That's always focus only on what is important and what is important for, and stay true to the project objective, focus or factor in issue or of confidentiality and formality, and accept that not every deviation need correction. Okay. So other than that, we must make sure that any communications tools that we use in our project management, use a process that support information being collected and timely basis. And then we have to understand the difference between schedule cost reporting and schedule cost controlling. Okay. Have to keep that channel of communication open at all time, and regularly identify and discuss the issue and risk impacting on the project, and then surveillance, corrective action and reinforcement where required. Okay, moderate your approach to exception reporting and meet regularly with project stakeholders to communicate with them and conduct ongoing project review and revision. Okay, so that's all what we are going to discuss for the topic of today, for communication in a project. Okay, that's all for this chapter. Thank you.